So, hello to everyone watching this video. We have with us Alia from Esri Canada. She is the Community Maps advocate, and during our discussion today, we will be discussing more about the Community Maps initiative by Esri. So, hi Alia, thank you for
Hi,
doing this.
hi Tanya, how's it going?
Great. I was saying thank you for doing this. This will be a very important discussion for our GoGeomatics community.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And, I know you and I have chatted in the past, so this is kind of fun to formalize it in
Sure,
a,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember me attending the webinar that you conducted, the Big Wins for Small GIS Teams with Community Maps, and this
Mhm.
that kind of fueled a little more interest in me, and I wanted to know more from you about that.
Great. So here we are. Let's get going, I guess.
Sure. So before we jump to our question, I would just like you to introduce yourself a bit and let
Mhm.
our audience know about your role with ISRI.
So as you said, I'm the community maps advocate. My name is Alia Kotb. I'm the community map advocate, and what that entails is advocating or working with the communities to onboard them to the program, explain what the program is all about, and ensure that they're comfortable to share their data with us. I also, one of the advantages of my role is I get to tell our community stories. So when a community joins and has success with the program or has new projects that they're working on as part of the initiative, they get to reach out to me, and I work with our marketing team to tell these stories and promote them as much as we possibly can.
Wow, that sounds interesting. I think it's more fun way because you're enjoying both the corporate and the community side aspect of things, right?
Well, that's the whole point of the program. I mean, or one of the aspects of the program is that it is about community. It is about telling the stories of how communities are using the program, and all the GIS stories that can be told through that.
Right, right, absolutely. Okay, so let's begin our questions. The first one is what brought about the need for
Mhm.
ISRI community maps? Like, what kind of gaps existed in initial data sets
Right.
that led to the development or the idea around this?
Good question to start with. The Esri Canada Community Map Program was established 11 years ago to address the need for an accessible, simple to use, and an up-to-date national web-based map, one that is based on authoritative sources, right? Although national and provincial data sets existed in some sort of digital form previously, they weren't always up to date, okay? And weren't always integratable, right? And in some cases, it was hard for them to be consumed. The importance of an up-to-date national web-based map cannot be overestimated. Okay. The base map provides a common reference, if you will, to which other information is shared and layered up on top that helps to plan our communities, provide insightful analysis, um, making significant social economic decisions, as well as communicating a better understanding of the world around us,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And to achieve that up to date national web base map, it was necessary to develop a close collaboration with the organizations that are responsible for the data and the activities that
Hmm.
get held within the community. Okay. These organizations, and when I say communities, right, that comes in the title.
Yeah.
We generally look at all levels of government, federal, provincial, municipal. as well as First Nation communities, universities, and colleges, as well as structure organizations such as airports or port authorities, because they own these data. These are authorities that manage the transaction of change that's happening in their community. Okay. Our approach has been to advocate for open data access to the core GIS data layers, and to make up that base map, right?
Okay.
In a collaborative or cooperative endeavor, Esri Canada would act as the data aggregator, if you will, right? By curating all this data from the various authorities into that standardized representation, and then publish it as part of the Community Map of Canada web-based map. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to ask about the target users, but I think you already covered that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So we work with the authorities, the local authorities, okay, that always, as I said, they own the data. They're close, right?
Okay. So what are the restrictions around this data set in terms of price, licensing, and can it be collaborated with other GIS software?
Well, anybody can access the Community Map of Canada, the web-based map. If you go to ArcGIS online, and just click on the maps, go to the base maps, you will be able to see the Canadian base maps. They're always highlighted with the Esri Canada logo, right? This doesn't provide, usage of that map doesn't provide access to the source data that makes up the community map. The vast majority of the published data actually does come from open data sites that belong to our contributors.
Okay.
And, anyone can then directly go, for example, if your municipality provides open data and you want access to that source, you can always reach directly through the municipality.
All right.
Right. However, and to answer the second part of your question, whether it's integrated with other GIS solutions, it is possible with freely available technology that's supported by Esri, such as Esri Leaflet, for example. So yes, you can incorporate it that way.
Okay, that could be some good news for students out there, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So when your users work on these maps, when they start putting in their data into community maps, do they require a lot of training or experience to provide their inputs to this?
Generally, because we work with municipalities, the authoritative contributor is for example, in a municipality or something, and generally their staff are GIS savvy. Right. There's very little training at that point on their side to be able to share their data. Additionally, we have a technical team, our community map technical staff, that provides extensive guidelines for, to help contributors prepare their data for sharing, as well as, we can always plan or book one-on-one meetings with them. Right. to kind of walk them through it. Take, for example, one of our most recent contributors, the town of Truro in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Their planning technician, Amanda Bent, who we've worked with, when she started, she didn't have a lot of GIS background. She was relatively new to using ArcGIS online. And our team helped her along the way to ensure she has a smooth process. And that's part of the advantage of contributing or participating in the program and working with Esri Canada is that we're always available to help you, and we alleviate you of that extra pressure of work.
Of course. Okay. I remember when we had a brief chat about this earlier, I was always wondering that how much time does it take for you to further validate those data sets? So how much time and resources does it take at your end? Because it's ultimately a base map that everybody is going to use. So I'm assuming there's a lot of validation taking place. So how does it happen at your end?
So we at Esri Canada do not change the data. We don't edit the data. Okay, the source data comes from the contributor as is, and a user or contributor can use a online feedback tool to identify problems on the map, and this information is used to make the necessary adjustments to the published maps, such as, in certain cases you would have like a labeling issue, or if there's a problem is identified, the source data of that feedback is given back to the authority for them to validate and confirm the accuracy or validity of that feedback. On the other hand, when we receive data from a new community, what we do is that, our team would process that data, and prep it for publication. Right. And that process involves field mapping the contributor data and putting it into our standard database schema. Initial process of field mapping can take anywhere between a few days to 3 weeks, depending on the size of data shared, right? Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it will be great to call this community maps for the community and by the community. Like, people are also owning the corrections that they see, and they're also kind of updating it as they go, right?
Exactly. And again, you are getting, I can't stress enough, how important it is that the data that's provided on that base map does come from authoritative sources. It's not anybody that can come up and give me information, right? So, and the fact that we update regularly is also helps in the users having that trust that the map in front of them is always fresh.
Right. Yeah, this brings me to the next question that I was going to ask, like, how frequent are the updates live on the community maps base map?
So we gather updates from across the country from all our contributors daily. Wow. And we publish a new community map, base map on an average between 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh, that's quite frequent.
Yes, it is. We work hard to ensure that it's always updated, has the correct information and so on. So,
right. I think that makes sense for the whole of country using a particular base map. It needs to be updated that frequently, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So my last question is a very important one. So in the webinar, it discussed a lot of importance about NG911 readiness and the community maps role in that. So let's talk about that. How would you say community maps is giving an extra role in NG911 readiness?
Great question. I love that question. So as you may know, the success of NG911 will be heavily dependent on authoritative GIS data coming from the communities and the services, not just the data, but the services. So what that means is local governments will be responsible for their data's readiness. Right. The Community Map of Canada has incorporated the current NINA standards into our base map, into our database schema, right? Which brings communities one stop closer to being NG911 ready.
Okay.
NG911 ready.
Yeah.
So I think I
Sounds like
added an extra.
Tongue twister, sounds
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So additionally, Esri Canada is also developing and making available apps and tools to assist NG911 GIS community with
Mhm.
data preparation, quality assurance, and data aggregation for core GIS data layers necessary to support 911 initiative. All of these tools incorporate the current NINA standards for
Wow.
NG911. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a part of the initiative too, because it's bringing the main thing required. Like we need location data
Exactly.
absolutely updated for NG911.
For
So
sure.
yes, that brings me to the end of my questionnaire, and it was a pleasure to have you discuss with us all the community maps related updates. And I'm sure the GoGeomatics community will make the best out of it, out of this knowledge, and maybe they can reach out to you for more details if they want to.
Oh, for sure. And anytime, you have more questions, feel free to ask. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about something that I'm passionate about.
Thank you so much for being with me.
Thanks. All right.